Hey everybody, Jeffrey Marples here, real estate broker in San Francisco. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite neighborhoods, South Beach. We're going to talk about why everybody seems to love it, as well as the different condo complexes, where to live, what are some of the better buildings, the luxury buildings on down. Before we get there, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click that bell so every time we come up with a new video that you can see our content. Let's talk about South Beach real quick. South Beach is one of my top 5 neighborhoods, and the reason why, we've got jobs. Jobs are going to be in the financial district. You got tech jobs like around South Park itself. There's a lot of VCs, a lot of tech companies right there. You've got tech companies on Townsend Street, and you also have biotech jobs that are really close in Mission Bay. So you got jobs. You got transportation. You can get anywhere around the city with public transportation. You got buses down there. You've got above ground Muni. You've got BART. Plus you are right next to East Bay freeways where you can get over to the East Bay, or you can drop south at the 101 and the 280 really fast. So jobs, transportation. You've got really nice new construction complexes that are nice, secure. Some of them have amazing amenities. You have the best microclimate in San Francisco. You want the best weather? It's out there. The other thing is, look, you're close to restaurants, you're close to shopping. You know, you get home from work, you take your dog and you ride or you run along Embarcadero. What is not to like about that? You know, we have South Beach. South Beach runs from Market Street all the way down to the Giant Stadium. So it lives north and south of the Bay Bridge. So for this video, I figured that we just sort of go sort of north side first, and then we'll talk about the south side and talk about the differences, right? The north side, you got more action. Clearly, you get on the streets on the north side of the Bay Bridge, down by some of these buildings. There's a lot of energy, a lot of hustle and bustle. There's a lot more people on the street. South side is more tame. You know, it's quiet. The people that are there, they live there or they do work there, but you don't have the hustle and bustle like you normally would north of the Bay Bridge. Even though that north side is it's much larger in reality. You know, there's twice as many apartment or condo complexes and all of that. So let's talk about some of the best buildings. Let's start from the best buildings in San Francisco. Maybe we'll start at the north side and just work our way down. So the first and foremost, let's just go straight to the chase, would be Millennium Tower, right? You know, Leaning Tower of San Francisco. It's got the bad rap and all that, but you know what? I still believe in that building. You know why? Because the service staff, the amenities, the amenity floor in Millennium, the location alone, not to mention, like, if I was to have a corporate rental, it would be in that building. You know, C-level executive, done, right? But think about it. You know, that building has an insanely nice amenity floor. So you're talking about a saline pool, outdoor space, fire pit, an amazing gym. We have a wine room. We have open space. We have a bar actually there, you know, for hosting parties and also just to meet other owners. So I really firmly believe in Millennium Towers. You have a tower, which you have the grand residence on top. You have the lower part of the building. The second bottom part is the residence, and then the city residence, which is the short squatty building. I love the city residence, guys. Phenomenal units. I mean, really beautiful. So if you want that higher level of luxury and you're willing to go through the pain of some retrofitting on that building, I think in 3-4 years, the prices are going to go screaming high, because you know what? Part of that, it does not have that Melrose tax that some of these other buildings have. Let's go to the next one. Just south of there is going to be 181 Fremont. That's the building that looks like the Hong Kong Shanghai building over in Hong Kong, right? This is a residential condo complex on top and then corporate commercial on the bottom. And there's only a handful of units. There's only like, I think it was 76 units. You're looking at ultra luxe though. You're looking at one-off finishes. I mean, some of those units, they're insanely nice. The amenities floor is amazing. My question on that building is really, is there enough service staff to really accommodate some of the owners? That's honest truth. That building also has that Melrose tax, which is $8.15 per square foot. And that's an additional taxation. You're going to find that on the next building. The next building we're going to talk about is MIRA. Now, MIRA is that white geometrically spiraled building. That building is a marker for the city. It's insane. I still haven't been in it. I think that they're just about to get people actually in the building. Really, I think that building is going to be pretty insane. You know why? You're right on the water. If you wanted a water or a bridge view, yes, you need to pay for it. And yes, you're going to be above $3 million most likely. But the reality is you're never going to find anything closer except for maybe one Stuart Lane that's currently being developed. You know, from my point of view, it doesn't have as much of a robust amenities package like some of the other buildings around it. But at the same time, you get insane views. I mean, and just the way that the architecture is, it's stunning. Right south of that is another building built by the same developer, and it's actually a complex. It's Infinity. Now, Infinity is over 10 years old, and at the time, it was revolutionary because it had these wide spanning views. You know, it really had this almost 180 degrees, 90 degrees, really, 90, 120 degree views, more panoramic on some of those units. It was really a marker at the time. You know, I still like that building. However, I think some of the pool, getting into the workout area, and it has an indoor lap pool, you know, is a little bit substandard. Not really substandard, but it's really, you know, it's not like Tishman's next building, which would be the Lumina, which we're going to talk about. But Infinity, you know, Infinity, you can get a good 2-bedroom, 2-bath for probably starting at 1.8. A good 1-bedroom unit, you're going to be around $1 million, $1.1 million. And, you know, as you go higher, prices get higher, views are going to change the values on these things, right? When you get over to Lumina, it's the same concept as Infinity. Now, remember, Infinity was 2 towers and 2 low rises. Lumina is the exact same, but at a higher level of luxury. Instead of sort of a subterranean pool and gym, they have it right dead center, and it's open, and it's a lot of volume, and it's really, really nice. So Lumina, once again, 2 towers and 2 low-rise, and they took the best concepts of Infinity and they applied it to Lumina, to where instead of that, say, 120-degree span within Infinity, well, they keep on rounding that out. So your view pane within the living room of some of these units, really pretty outstanding. I mean, really pretty nice. You know, and as far as the amenities, let's think about it. I mean, an insanely nice gym. They've got a theater. They've got a climbing wall, a music room, business room. They have a game room where you could play pool. You have a club room that you could rent out for parties with sort of that caterer's kitchen. If you really wanted a building with insane amenities, Lumina. That's it. You're still close to jobs, transportation. The thing about those buildings, though, you got to remember, there's so many buildings now about it. The views have changed considerably over the last 10 years, and it really is going to come down to the views in some of these units, because some of them you're going to be looking at other buildings, and that's just the simple truth of it. Another building that I really like, it's about 10 years old, it's called 1 Hawthorne. Now, 1 Hawthorne is at the very bottom of New Montgomery where it meets Howard. Now, that's a boutique building, so it's a luxury building, but it's a smaller building, less amenities. Still has a front doorman, valet park, but it's just a smaller, tighter, more intimate building. I personally like the 1-bedrooms. If you're looking for a 1-bedroom, you're looking at 1-1, 1-2. 1 Hawthorne is a really good building because you have views from different windows, you know, from different sides of that unit, and bigger units, like 900 square feet. But the thing I really like about it is this location. It's very cosmopolitan. You are just earshot from San Francisco MoMA. You can go right on over to Moscone Center, and you have all of the different things over at, you know, Target. You've got the AMC Theater really close by. There's so many things that are within that proximity. Once again, it has a walk score of 100. So jobs, transportation, amenities, all these things, it's right there. So that is another building that really should be on your radar. Next building south of that is the Blue. Now that's on Folsom at second. I also really liked the 1-bedrooms in there. But you know what? The kitchens, I thought, in that building were spectacular, modern, colorful, really thought-provoking almost, where you're really, it's not the normal kitchen, it is just modern, has color, it's hip. I really, it's just one of those things. I think it's a really good building. When you go a little bit further down Folsom, you're going to hit another brand new luxury building called the Avery. Now, the Avery is a new construction project. There are going to be some really amazing views in it. I've been into a number of units. It's residential unit rentals below you, and then you have condos up top. You've got amenity floors in the middle, so fire pit, you got your gym, you got an indoor pool. So it's a really nice luxury level building. It also has that Melrose tax. So once again, $8.15 per square foot. So it's going to add up. Just up the street from there is an older building called the Metropolitan. So if you're looking for a little bit more value, Metropolitan might be your target. There's some units in there that I really like. Some units a little bit more challenging. But overall, you got an indoor lap pool. You've got a very good, well-run concierge. You've got the gym. You've got a club room. And you got a upstairs outside barbecue pit. So, Metropolitan is a building that, hey, if you wanted a big building, but you just don't have the big box, or you want a little bit more value, Metropolitan. Get on your radar. Right up the street from there, and especially for those who are looking for view units, you're going to be looking at buildings like One Rincon and the Harrison. Now, let's talk about One Rincon. One Rincon was built about in 2007, 2008. I could be off on that a little bit. But it is the high-rise tower north of the Bay Bridge. Now, a couple years ago, they built the second tower, which is a sister building, the Harrison, 2 different buildings, 2 different HOAs, right? But if you wanted great views, that building, you have views from anywhere. If I am talking to somebody and they say, I want a view, and it's on top of their list, they're looking at units at One Rincon. And the thing with One Rincon is 10 years ago, it was really isolated up there because you had a bunch of construction zones over there. Well, all those buildings have been built. So it doesn't feel as isolated anymore. It is right next to the Bay Bridge. So, it is good to get a little bit higher if you are on that southeastern side. But remember, that southeastern side has insane views. You're talking Bay Bridge and distant water views. They're sick. The O2 stack is the most coveted. That's that corner. You're looking at $2 million pretty easy. To get into the building, a 2-bedroom unit, you're looking at 1.7, 1.8, depending on where you are in the building. That's basic. If you're really low, it's going to be a little bit more affordable. When you go over to the next building, the Harrison. Now, the Harrison is still part of the original complex. So both of those buildings share almost all amenities, which is great. So you got 2 gyms. You've got this Uncle Harry's, which is sort of a club room that's 3,000 square feet on top of the building. You could go up there, you could have private parties. The views out of that building are absolutely insane. So once again, if you wanted views, the Harrison is also on your radar. However, the interior of that building is completely different. It's like a French hotel lobby in the lobby of the Harrison. So it is a one-off. It's not, some people like it, some people don't. I think it comes down to a personality and, a lot of textures and a lot of eye candy really within that building. So it runs about $200,000 more, sometimes a little bit more than that, depending on what you're looking at. A 1-bedroom unit, looking at 1.5 sometimes. And to get a good corner unit, you're looking at $2.3 million for the E stack, which is comparable to the O2 stack at One Rincon, where it's just big views, bridge, water, East Bay, beautiful views, right? When you go down the street from there, you are going to be hit at 400 Beale. Now, 400 Beale is the Bridgeview. It's an older building. It's not quite as sexy as, say, the curtain wall construction when you have windows that are, from floor to ceiling. That's the curtain wall construction. So these other buildings like 400 Beale, the Bridgeview, they're older. They got girders with them, and sometimes those girders, get in the way. But realistic, once again, it's a value play. You could get into that building at 1.5 pretty easy, 1.6 for a 2-bedroom unit. And yes, It has a gym. It has an outdoor pool. It has a barbecue area. It has a great service staff. So, if you're looking for a little bit of value, Bridgeview might be an option. You go right next to that, that's BAYCREST. That's going to be even a little bit bigger of a bargain. A little bit lower on price. Older building, has a racquetball court for all sake, but it doesn't quite have, enough. It's really for those people that want to get into the market. You can get into a 1-bedroom over there for around $825, 2-bedroom for about $2.2. 2.3, depending on where you're at within the building. That's pretty much everything north of the Bay Bridge, right? When you drop south of the Bay Bridge, remember, it's going to be less frenetic on the street. It's going to be a little bit more mellow, and it's nice like that. The first building is going to be the WATERMARK at 501 Beale. Newer construction. It's a nice, clean building. It's right on the waterfront. The things to know about it, you got a city navigation center. That's a 3-year contract with the city right next to that, which I think, is definitely a consideration. The navigation center is, homeless, quarters basically for people that need a place to shelter, which, living in San Francisco, we need something, right? Can't just keep them on the street. But at the same time, we've got to think about people's safety and what we want out of it. The other part is there's a lot around that building. And so someday that lot will be developed, but right now I think it's not going to happen. When you go just a little hop and a skip over, you're going to hit a couple of my favorite buildings in a little pocket. There's an intersection where you have 200 Brannon, which is a loft style building, and it's a newer construction, so you're going to have concrete walls. And that building doesn't have that many amenities. It has a gym, has a front doorman, but you don't have a pool or anything. But you have a great location right there. And you're really, just a half block from the Embarcadero. So it really is a nice location. South of that, on that other side of the intersection, is one of my favorite lofts. Actually, it is my favorite loft style building in the city. That's going to be Oriental Warehouse. I'm actually in contract on another unit today, right now. And you're looking at a 2-bedroom loft unit. You're looking at like 1.7 minimum to get in. Now 1.7, on a unit that might be a little bit outdated, need a little bit of love. Some of the units that I've been getting in a contract are not quite at $800,000. So that's $1,700,000. You're in that range most likely for the better, larger units. Some of the units have really, really good renovations. So, prices are going to fluctuate a little bit based on that. But it's a great building. If you like the brick and timber feel of a building, I love it. I absolutely love. That's actually one of my favorite buildings. Once again, Oriental Warehouse. You know why it's Oriental Warehouse? It's really one of the original buildings in San Francisco, and they used to warehouse. That's where the ships would pull up, and that's where they'd offload all of their goods from the Orient. Oriental Warehouse, right? Get it? Right next to that is another complex that I really, really like. It's called the Brannon. Now, the Brannon, it's like 18 years old, 2001 construction, but the reality is it's kind of timeless. It feels like a W hotel. It just feels sophisticated. When you walk in, the doors are heavy. You're getting in. The service staff over there, God, I just think the world of them. I'm always talking to people. I'm always talking to the service staff, and they're great over there at the Brannon. Outdoor pool, gym. The outdoor pool, it really is like a spa out there. It's phenomenal. And the units, some of them are really, really nice. Some of them you get really good views. And you're really looking at, for a base 2-bedroom unit, right now you're looking at 1.6, 1.7, and then the prices go up depending on what side of the building you're on, views, and the size of the unit. So some of those units, my unit right now is 15, 60 square feet, something like that. So a little bit larger of a unit, 2-bedroom and a den. You get that within the Brannon. And then when you go a little bit further south from that, just really on the other side, the next value play, in my opinion, is going to be 88 King. Now, 88 King, I actually really like it. The thing is, where Embarcadero wraps around, turns to King Street, right there, kitty corner to the ballpark, and across the street from the marina is the towers on Embarcadero. I always call it 88 King. The reason why I like it, it's a value play. That whole building a couple years ago had all of the windows redone, or most of the windows in the bay redone. So you get newer windows. You actually, on the outside terrace where the outdoor pool is, you have a garden. You have grounds. You have trellises. You have mature olive trees. It's really beautiful up there and really settling, in my opinion. I mean, and from a value point of view, hey, you know, you still got, you know, you got your on-site management, you got a gym, you got, you know, club space. You have a small caterer's kitchen right there. You have an office room, outdoor pool, and you have this location where you're right on the water. Well, on the other side of the street, but the water's right there. You know, so from a convenience point of view, hey, it's, you know, I like it. I mean, you come home, you're not paying out the nose for some of the luxury, you know, higher, newer buildings, but those units are really good. And some of the patios, instead of like some of the decks like you see in some of the glass towers, you actually really get a patio where you could lounge, which is, I think, really helpful. You know, you could, you know, recline and not feel like you're going to, you know, fall off a glass enclosure, you know. So 88 King, I think, is a great building. Next, and I think final in our list, because that's going to be our furthest south building, would be 170 off of 3rd. Now, 170 off of 3rd is right across the street from the ballpark. It's the building that has these baseball-themed Greek sconces outside. And then on the Townsend Street side, because there are basically 2 entrances to this building, you have a lot of glass. So every time you get off the floor in that building, depending on what side you're on, north or south side, you're either going to get an art sculpture made out of glass, or you're going to get like a baseball-themed statue, you know, that's on the wall. Scott's, who comes up with this stuff? You know why? Because the developer did, and that, you know, he put in a couple $1 million just on artwork just to have that differentiation compared to some of these other buildings. You know, it used to be, there's a building right next to it, but you used to be able to see, there's a big metal, it looks like a whale tail on the very top of the building. That's where you can go up and barbecue, but you know, 170 off of 3rd, outdoor pool. You've got good quality construction, nice views, but you're in at a decent price. You know, at a 1-bedroom, depends on how large the 1-bedrooms are. You're looking from 800 to, you know, 1, maybe a little bit more than that, not much more than that. 2 bedrooms, you're looking at probably 1,150,000 plus. Right? I really put it on your radar. I like that building. The one thing to remember about that building, though, if you're an investor, you know, they have a rental restriction. So it's not the best building if you're an investor. Beyond that, I think that covers all of the major buildings in the area. Clearly, I missed a couple. There's a couple here and there, a couple smaller buildings that might be a good fit for you as well. But, you know, realistically, that's it. If you expanded that territory into Mission Bay, there's some good options over in Mission Bay that I could talk about, or Yerba Buena, where you get a little bit further into the city. So it really comes down to, you know, you knowing exactly what you like and what you don't like. When I help people, it's almost easier if I could identify those things that are a no. I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want that, but I need this and that and the other. Right off the top, I know it. Sure enough, we get into those buildings, yeah, most of the time it's a fit. Sometimes, however, just like my current clients, we were looking at units at the Brannon. I happened to show them an Oriental warehouse unit, and they fell in love with it. So guys, you know, remember, you know, residential real estate is emotional. You know, you have to envision yourself living there. You have to really feel comfortable. And it's a matter of like sort of trying on the different buildings. And really what it comes down to is getting a tour and looking at the differences. Really what I help people, you know, when they come in and say, okay, well, I'm looking for this or that and the other, it's like, okay, well, I have a really good idea based on all the conversations and the questions I ask people, but let's look at these buildings. And sure enough, you know, we find a match. Sometimes it's outside of the ballpark that we looked, but as long as we cast a good net and, you know, I'm picking up cues, you know, usually we're doing some good business. So that's sort of it in a nutshell, guys. I hope this video was really helpful. You know, I did this off the top of my head because I do this so often. I know these buildings so very well. So if you're a buyer and you want to learn a little bit more about some of these buildings, just give me a call. If you're a seller, you know, clearly I'm out in the marketplace. Make sure that you see one of my stealth websites, San Francisco Condomania, where we have absolutely every condo in the marketplace up there. We also have sold data. It's a great resource. It's not going to pigeonhole yourself into any of the registration. I get a lot of viewers into that website and a lot of people trust it. as like a trustworthy website. So San Francisco Condomania, make sure you go there. And in the meantime, also, if you're not following me on my YouTube, please, once again, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the bell so you're always notified on some of our latest videos, because I'm going to cover the gamut. I'm actually thinking about doing a podcast at the same time. LinkedIn, I'm always trying to post some valuable content of the market or San Francisco. I also write articles there, so find me on LinkedIn, my Facebook business page, Instagram, and of course, just reach out to me. I'm a straight shooter. I'm going to tell it like it is. I ask a lot of questions. You know why? Because I want to get to know, people's situations. And on top of everything, I love, really helping people solve problems. At the end of the day, it's the gratitude that some of my clients provide me. I mean, it makes me smile. So I'm hoping I could do the same for you. I hope this has been informative. Make sure that you follow along, and thanks so much for watching.